Hey guys, today we are doing a soft-spoken look at my Viking ancestry on Genomelink. You have Scandinavian Viking as a part of your ancestors. My Viking index is 66%. I'll explain what that means in a minute. You are in 60 percentile compared with all Genomelink users, so a lot more than average. More than average, pretty high up there, but not like super. Gotta play high. And these are the 4 types of Viking. We have Scandinavian Vikings, which is my most predominant, Finnish Vikings, Slavic Vikings, and British Vikings. As you'll see in a minute, I have a bit of all of these, but I'm more predominantly Scandinavian Viking. About the Viking Index. The Viking Index indicates your own relationship to the ancient people of Scandinavia who lived 1,000 years ago and spread out across the world in a series of migrations and raids. Our index is generated using ancient DNA from the period of the Vikings and measures the genetic differences between you and these people who died more than 1,000 years ago in Sweden. If you are 100% Viking, that means you are genetically the same as the ancient people, though the reality is that because of the migration into Scandinavia since the Viking period, very few people hit this metric. So it's almost impossible to be 100% Viking because 1,000 years ago, their genetics are so much different than today. Even if you and your whole family are from Sweden, you're not the same genetic as Vikings because during that time period, only the Viking people lived in Sweden. But now today, so many people from all over Europe and different countries have gone to Sweden. And as people breed and have children with different people, everybody ends up getting a little bit of British, a little bit of this and that and that. And so our genetic will be a lot different. Even if you're 100% Swedish, 100% Swedish today looks different than 1,000 years ago. So me having 66% is actually quite a lot. I was surprised at that amount. The Viking Index measures not only the relationship to these ancient people, but reflects the reality that many peoples have mixed and merged since the Viking Age. Modern Scandinavians descend mostly of these people, but also have ancestry from the groups the Vikings interacted with. Match your closest Viking is number 1, Scandinavian Vikings, and you can see the scale to like pretty a lot. View details. Here's a look at what we believe the men and women to look like, and here's a look at the way their homes look where they lived. The Vikings of Scandinavia erupted into the landscape of Europe in the 9th century with rapid raids on England and stories into France. Recorded historically by terrified Christians, these Western movements are documented extensively in history. These Vikings who remained in the West gave rise to important cultures and societies. The Normans descended from Northmen, who settled down into northern France and eventually conquered England. Far to the east and less clear in the histories, the Viking raids of Sweden expanded across the vast landscape of Finland and Russia, taking their longships overland when needed and navigating the great rivers until they reached the Black Sea. In the process, the core Scandinavian homelands, what became of Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, became rich with booty, precious gold, and humans. Those who raided abroad became rich at home and likely left more than their fair share of descendants in the modern day. My second match is British Viking. And here's a look at their home. Looks like a little castle. The Vikings of Britain and Ireland settled down and integrated with the local people, adopting the Christian religion. They nevertheless maintain their own lifestyle and language. The day Thursday comes from Thursday, while words such as gun, ransack, and slaughter come from the Norse. The broad swath of England running across its north and east was occupied by Viking people for centuries, and these groups eventually became part of the Anglo-Saxon nobility. The last Anglo-Saxon king of England, Harold Godwinson, had a Danish mother. And this is my percentage of British Viking, a little more than average. Or not average, like, I would say this is probably 55%. And this one, I think, is what the 66. No, that looks like 75 to me. My third match is Slavic Viking. It looks like I have about 40%. Here's a look at their home, and here's a look at them. The Baltic Sea was the home of several groups of people: Scandinavians in the west, Finns to the north, and Slavs and Balts to the east. The expansion of Vikings took them deep into the forests of Russia and toward the Eurasian steppe, but many also occupied the territories around the fringe of their shared sea. These raiders eventually settled down and intermarried with the local people, whose farming lifestyle was not glamorous but effective in surviving during the harsh and cold winters of Europe's northeast. While the Vikings of the West took the reins of leadership and influenced the cultures of England and northern France, those of European East fade into memory and leave only the diaphanous filaments of their genetics behind. And my fourth match is Finnish Viking. I probably have 20%. Here's a look at their home, and here's a look at them. As the people of Scandinavia moved eastward, they entered the territory of the Finns. While bracketed together under the category of Nordic, the Finns are not Scandinavian people. Their language is not even Indo-European, sharing more in common with the dialects of the Sami, or the Samoyed people of north-central Siberia. The best genetic evidence is that the ancestors of the Finns migrated from the east 2,000 years ago, mixing with the people who spoke a language related to the Scandinavians to the west, and Baltic people like the Lithuanians to the south. The arrival of Scandinavians from the east reversed this flow like Vikings, and later armies under the kings of Sweden conquered Finland and the eastern Baltic region. Large minorities of Swedish speakers still exist today in Finland, a testament to this ancient migration, but those modern Swedes of the East are clearly genetically mixed with heritage from the local Finnish-speaking people. This is just if you're Asian but you still have some Viking, which doesn't apply to me, so I'm going to skip that. But if you're Asian and you're curious, you can pause the video and read that now. And then just some references, which if you're interested, you can pause and read it, but I'm going to skip that. So this is my Viking index. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you'd like to take a look at my Ancestry composition on GEDmatch or 23andMe. I hope that you all have a great, relaxing weekend, and I will see you guys in my next video. I post every Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you like my videos, please subscribe, give it a like, and comment to let me know what you liked about it, what I could do better next time, and any video suggestions or requests that you may have. Thank you guys for watching.